Hi, I'm Myra.
And I'm Tressa. We are fancy marketing people with Union, a Wyoming-based telecommunication company. Yes, Wyoming really does exist. We proudly serve the Rocky Mountain region.
On this podcast, we will feature businesses, organizations, nonprofits, and influential people from Utah, Colorado, and Wyoming.
Our mission is to highlight those who inspire their communities daily.
We believe this makes us truly authentic because a journey of 1,000 miles always begins with a single step. Hey, Tressa.
Hey, Myra.
How's it going?
Wonderful.
Long time no see.
I know. It's not like we don't see each other every day.
I know.
Yeah.
People in listener land, yeah, I see Tressa all the time. I think I see you more than I see myself.
I think you see yourself. I doubt that.
Oh, it's funny.
Maybe more than you see your family, but
Yeah. Maybe more than Blake sometimes. Cool. Anything fun going on in your life?
no, not really.
I don't know how fun this is, but we decided to do a bathroom renovation in our main bathroom. I don't even know. What do you even call it anymore? Isn't even called a master bath? It's
called an ensuite if it's attached to your bedroom.
So it'd be your
your ensuite.
Yeah. And
HGTV, baby.
there you go. Yeah, so Blake did it all, and he did so good. And there were so many times, one, I've dreaded it. We've lived in this house for about 3 years now, and we should have done this a long time ago. And I just had one of those like tubs from the 90s that had like some seating around it. That can
Like a garden tub?
kind of like a communal bath, like, take a bath, sit down, have a chat, whatever. But then it had like this mirror that was along the entire wall. So you could see from the bedroom into the bathroom and it was just
Weird.
very weird.
Yeah.
So we've been meaning to do it, and I was nervous. And Blake's like, well, let's go for it. So we did it. He really did it.
Is it done?
It's done.
Nice.
It's done. We need mirrors.
Yeah.
But I'm traumatized from the last mirror, so I don't know if I could live without him for a little bit. But yeah, the whole time I'm like, you can do it. And he's like, no, I can't. But he did it. So it's done. But now my garage was his workspace, and I'm, I guess, the only person allowed to park in their garage. And I'm upset because I've been demoted to outside their garage.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I don't blame you.
I'm a little over that one. So yay, thanks for the bathroom, but clean the damn garage.
Get that garage clean.
Get it cleaned out,
Since
please.
we got like a couple inches of snow and
I'm ready. So
remodels are always hard, but then they're so refreshing and you just love it when it's done. Right?
Yeah. So Nola thinks that sometimes she'll tell me, she'll be like, Mom, I don't miss that bathtub. And I'm like, yeah, I don't either. I'm like,
That's why we did this.
yeah, it's like, it's okay to like the new bathtub. It's okay. The other bathtub won't mind. So she thinks we did the whole thing for her.
Yeah.
So that's the mentality of the 4-year-old.
Yeah, one of the things Myra shared with me in a remodel was she got this towel heater. Is that what you call it?
Yeah.
And so I immediately had to get on Amazon and order one. And it is a life changer. Every night I heat up my blankets before I sit on the couch.
Yep.
I heat up my robe in the morning. I mean, yeah.
It's magic.
It is magic.
Yeah, especially, so I'll put for those who are interested in a towel warmer these days, it is a good investment. I will put my towel in first and then get in the bathtub. And you're in the bathtub for a good long while. So, I mean, that thing comes out steamy. It's nice.
That's what I do with my robe instead of the towel. But
Yeah.
it
was worth it.
$116, life-changing.
Yeah,
Amazon.
Yeah.
There's a plug.
Yeah, there you go. Bath warmers sponsor me. I don't know. the name
Yeah,
of the
exactly.
brand.
I'm not sure either.
I'll take 100.
Reach out. Yeah.
I'll put one in every room. I won't mind.
So thanks for the tip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm here for.
Yeah.
That's why you keep me.
That's right. Tips and tricks.
Yeah.
So, well, good. Well, I'm glad. I'm glad you made it in, even since you had to dig your car out.
Yeah.
With no ice scraper.
I'm surprised. Yeah. Hearing poor little Nola go, Mom, don't cry. And I'm like, it's more like, Mom, it's not Mom, don't cry. It's Mom, don't cuss Dad. So, Like, remember that he ain't the enemy. So, but we're all good. No tears were shed.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Don't cry.
I didn't, but it was just so funny. It's
Just a little moisture out there.
Yeah. So I used a neck pillow that was in my car to scrape my car off this morning.
Look at you. Inventive.
It was.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I put it to good use.
Yeah.
It wasn't the most effective.
I just throw it away now. But
Yeah, I'm done now. It's garbage. So.
All right. Well, let's ready to get started with our guest today. So we're really excited. We met Jimmy Temple at Cheyenne Frontier Days this last year. And at the time, he was recording a podcast called Cowboys Trailers and Ranches that was all about the Western lifestyle. That is now morphed into a TV show. So I'm really excited for you to talk about that, Jimmy. Tell us how that happened, where people can see you. Tell us all about it.
Well, good morning, ladies. Good morning, Wyoming. And just so everybody knows, go Pokes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go Pokes.
Love it. I'm riding for the brand. Well, hey, number one, thank you, ladies. It's an honor to be on y'all's podcast, and I hope it continues to do well because I know both of you are riding for the brand. So yeah, it's exciting for y'all. So Cowboys Trailers and Ranches, crazy things have happened in the last couple months. So we started out, my buddy and I, he's an old calf roper, and we started a podcast back in February. And when we first started this thing, it was going to be just like fun thing to do. Two cowboys sitting around talking, drinking a little whiskey, and talking about all our old stories in the trailer business. So when we first started it, it was literally going to be just about the trailer business, because I've been in the horse and livestock trailer business for 30 years and have traveled and have a ton of stories that go right along with my rodeo stories and my show cattle stories. But so we decided to put it on a bigger spectrum. And so we decided to call it Cowboys Trailers and Ranches, which gave us the opportunity to cover the whole Western industry from tip to tip. It didn't matter what we could talk about. I mean, if it was horse and livestock trailer business, if it was working ranch cowboys, rodeo cowboys, people that own Western stores, we would have content forever. So we started out with that as a plan, and it soon gained a little speed, and it gained so much speed my partner bailed off on me in April, and I took the reins by myself. And you could really kind of see that's when it kind of started to really take shape. And I really kind of had a different vision at that time. I'd always kind of had a vision of a TV show, because I believed in this so much that my end goal was to have this on Cowboy Channel or some kind of new Western network where we could do this as a TV show. So that was like 5 to 10 years down the road. And so when my vision changed, kind of my thesis changed, so to speak. And it was now what I really wanted to do was shed light on the Western industry, but more so shed light on the people in the Western industry that never really got light shed on them, and bring them to the forefront and let them tell their stories. Because everybody's got a story, but I feel like the people in the Western industry have got a better story than most, and people relate to it. And so as I took that as kind of my thesis, as kind of my mission, I really, really started to get really great feedback literally every week from some organization, somebody, telling me, hey, we love what you're doing. Please keep moving forward. So we did. And about the end of August, a network started following me on social media, and they started reaching out. And all of a sudden one day they were like, hey, we love what you're doing. We love how authentic you are. We love your message. We love who you are. We need to get you on a call. And I'm like, yeah, okay, right. I've heard this before,
yeah.
Right?
You're like, too good to be true, right?
Yeah. So I'm like totally skeptical. And so we get on first Zoom call, and then I'm like, okay, this might be a little legit. Kathy Ireland, who's ex-supermodel, Kathy Ireland, is behind the network. And then I'm like, okay, this could be legit, right? So
Yeah.
we get on another Zoom call, and I had all of my crew, my wife and my social media director and our operations manager for both of our companies. And they're all like, yeah, this is a no-brainer. We need to do this. So we decided to do it. And we just launched our first season, which was all of our produced episodes that we started doing. Instead of just me and an iPad and a microphone, we actually produced them with the production company. So we just downloaded all 8 of those as season 1 to your home TV, which you can access through the Roku channel. And it's on TV.
That is cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's amazing.
I do love what you're talking about, Jimmy, because for me, I never grew up around ranches. I'm from the East Coast, and I grew up I can tell you all about the Appalachians and all that. But to me, we just kind of like romanticize the West. You know, what is the West? What's happening? What's going on? And so there is such an interest. I know there's people like me, you know, who are very interested in this lifestyle, in this culture, who would maybe not be exposed to this type of information. So I love that you started the podcast just on telling the story, sharing the history, sharing the culture, and then now it's evolved into this TV production, which is just awesome.
Well, yeah, thank you. And you know what? I'm glad you said that, because you know, as we grow this thing, and I say it just about all the time on the podcast show, whatever you want to call it now, but it is so true that there's so many people that are looking at this industry, our Western industry, our Western culture. And yes, whether you're a Yellowstone fan or not, it did shine light on our Western industry. And I really am just a big advocate of keeping that light shined permanently, instead of every 20, 30 years from urban cowboy to Yellowstone.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
I mean, because that's people can relate to that. But I'm all about just shining that light all the time for people like yourself that grew up in the East, for people like in California or the Northwest, or people that never were exposed to that lifestyle, that maybe always wanted to be, but didn't know how to or make that first step to do it. So that's really what Cowboys Trailers and Ranches is all about, as well as bringing those people like I call on the front lines and hearing their story, because that's the people that make this country, but make this industry and culture churn every day.
Yeah, absolutely. And even living in the West my whole life, Wyoming, Utah area, I still love to see the stories from people in the West, right? And it's interesting, the content that we produce for Union, when we talk about Wyoming, it's always our highest performing content. People love to hear about the state that they're in, or, you know, the culture that they're around. So it goes both ways to people who don't have an idea of what that culture looks like and people who are ingrained in the culture. I think it hits both audiences.
Right.
So can you give us a little sneak peek of like what content was on episode 1?
Oh, yes. Episode 1 is probably, I mean, they're all my favorite.
Yeah.
But episode 1, I know, kind of.
It's like your baby, right?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, you're a little partial to it, right?
Well, yeah, it's really kind of a cool story. Episode 1 on the new, on season 1 is one we did with up and coming country artist Bailey Ray, who is on The Voice.
Oh, very cool.
That's cool.
I'm telling you ladies right now, I don't know if I've ever heard a better female voice in country music. I mean, I go back to listening to Leanne Womack back in the 90s, right?
Oh, yes.
I think she's as good. I think she's as good as Leanne Womack. So we filmed at one of Texas's oldest dance halls, the Copeland Dance Hall, which Copeland, Texas is about that big, and the whole town is this dance hall, and it goes back to the 1800s. So they opened up their arms, gave us the whole dance hall. Bailey Ray was performing that night, so we had 3 hours to film her and I, and I'm telling you what, it was epic. It was so cool. And Bailey Ray and her family were there, and they are just salt to the earth rodeo and Western people. And I don't know, it's the opening to the show is Bailey Ray and I come screaming in a side by side. We get out of the side by side, and it's so cool. It is so cool. So yeah, I would say, I mean, there's, like I said, they're all, I freaking love them all, and I try to do something cooler and better than in each one. But yeah, that one's probably still near and dear to my heart.
Yeah, it gets sweeter with every episode or every thing that you do, because then you're getting more creative. You're thinking about it. So then you love them all. Yeah, you're like, oh, this is it. Yeah. This is the one. Yeah.
Right. And you try to learn, what you did in the last one that you can do better in this one, and what people may have not liked in the last one that they would like in this one. And I mean, it's just, but I'm telling y'all, I could do this every day of my life. I absolutely love what I'm doing. Love.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Will you talk about trailering? I know nothing. And I'm like, I'm sitting here trying to rack my brain thinking, what do I know about trailering? So the only trailering I know much about is seeing it happen in real time from some people, because I live near ranches and things. But then I think about like Yellowstone, and I'm like, that's not real. Or is it, so like, I love that you hit on that. Like, even though, yes, it's this TV show, and who knows how people feel about it or not, whatever, that's their opinion. It did shed light back into the culture, the industry, what's happening. So I'm just curious, like, do you have a fun story about trailering, or for those out there that aren't really as familiar or aware of?
Girl, I've got.
I'm sure you have a million.
I've got 30 years being in the business.
Yeah.
But I started pulling a trailer and loading cattle and loading horses when I was 7.
Oh wow.
So I'm not going to tell you how old I am. You can about imagine, but that's a long time. So I've got a lot of stories, but I think so. Being in a horse and livestock trailer business, I know there's so many people that are like, "Oh, that sounds so boring." Well, I'll tell you what, it's about as exciting as an industry because of the people that you meet, the places that you go, the shows, the rodeos, the horse shows, the livestock shows, the rodeo. You are constantly around people all the time. And, our culture, thank God, we're always wanting to help each other. So we're always wanting to help load that steer that won't load, or that horse that's giving somebody trouble loading in the trailer. I mean, and that's what absolutely makes me love what I do, but keep wanting to do it every day. It's because of the people in this industry. I will put them on a pedestal every day, because I don't think there's any better people out there than what is in the Western industry and Western culture, and in agriculture in general. But trailer stories. Yeah. So I can tell you, back in the day when I was showing cattle, this is kind of bad, but it's a true story. So we were loading cattle to go to a show, and we loaded all the calves on the trailer to go to the Denver National Western Stock Show. We used to go out there every year and show. So I grew up on a cattle farm in northern Illinois. So we'd have to drive from Illinois to Denver, which was going across I-80. So we get what we thought. We loaded all the cattle one by one. I think there was 7 heifers, 2 cow calf pairs. So anyway, so we get what we thought we had loaded. And my brother, he's like, "Yep, everything's good, right?" So we get going down the road, and for some reason, all of a sudden, my dad was the ramrod, and I mean a big ramrod. And if you didn't get things right, he would let you know more ways than one. So we're like, "All right, boys, you sure we got the show box? We got the halters, we got feed, we got hay." And we're like, "Yes, Dad, we got it," right? So we get to a truck stop to fuel up, and my dad's like, "Hey, Jimmy, go back and make sure check on all the cattle." And I'm like, "Okay, I got this." So I'm checking them, and I'm like, "Okay, 2, 4, 6, 7, 9, 2, 4, 6, 7." Dad, Dad, we're missing a calf. He's like, boys, before I really get mad, didn't I tell you to check and make sure we had all the cattle? And I'm like, yeah, Dad, that was Jay. That was my brother.
Yeah.
That was Jay's fault. We had to turn around 3 hours into the trip and go back and get this calf that we forgot. And that was like, Dad never, ever let us forget this. To this day, he will never let us forget.
Probably the longest 3 hours back,
right,
of your life.
Yeah. So I mean, it was a 14-hour drive.
You just added
staying hooked, right?
Yeah.
So now, yeah, you just put everybody behind the 8 ball, and yeah, but it wasn't me though.
I'm sure you let your brother really remember that one. Yeah, it wasn't me.
I'll bet that you guys never did that again. I bet you counted, double counted, triple counted before you ever took off again.
Yes,
yeah.
That was never done again.
Yeah.
That was never done again. But yeah, that was so going back to the trailer and thing, the trailer life, it's as much a part of the culture as the horse and livestock and cattle, the cattle industry, because that's your means of transportation, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's how you get livestock from point A to point B. And I think people forget to realize how important a livestock or a horse trailer is in the agricultural industry, because it's your mode of transportation.
Yeah, that's very true. Mm. You touched a little bit on Yellowstone. I mean, as Yellowstone came out, it kind of highlighted to a degree, I mean, sensationalized, of course, but the Western lifestyle. What other events or key figures do you think has elevated the lifestyle?
You know what? All of a sudden, Cowboys are cool, right? I mean, you put actors in that position like Kevin Costner. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's going to be successful, right? And I think what was really cool about it is you put actors in that were real cowboys that made at least part of it authentic, right? And I think that's what kept people kind of in a cult fashion glued to their sets every week, because the cowboy was cool, right? All of a sudden now the cowboy's cool again, and it's they can see it every week. They can see Kevin Costner. Now you see Cole Hauser, which is Rip, which is a totally different type of character. So I mean, you got a lot of characters, right? And I think and as well as a setting like Montana,
yeah, or
Park City, Utah, which a lot of the bar scenes were filmed in Park City, Utah. But you put that kind of setting, and I think all of a sudden people are like, wow, this is so cool, right? Very well produced. I can tell you one of the first, I think it was the first episode, and I hadn't watched it. My dad watched it, and he threw a living fit, because he's like, this is phony, this is fake. The first time they saw a brand new calf being pulled out on the pasture, and the next thing you know, he jumps up and runs off.
Yeah.
Not quite like that, right?
It's the ideal scenario. Yeah. That's funny. And
so, I think, go ahead.
I think it's even funny that they filmed the bar scenes in Park City, because that's like the bougie West.
Yeah, it is the bougie West.
The fancy West.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
That'd be like filming in Jackson. Like that ain't no Livingston. I've been there. My in-laws are from there. I know. That is not Livingston.
That's a really good point. And you know what's really funny about that? Because my wife and I have a farm and ranch real estate company, so we follow ranches all over the country. And what has happened, as you can imagine, you've heard, since Yellowstone came into the Bitterroot Valley in Montana, from Missoula to Darby, where most of that was filmed, the price of real estate and ranches just went shoo, off the planet now. And so it's helped some of those communities, but at the same time it's hindered them, because nobody can afford to live there, mm-hmm. unless you're uber wealthy.
Mm-hmm. You're kind of pushing the people out too.
Yeah.
Like the people that normally would live there or want to be a part of that lifestyle, or grew up in that lifestyle.
Right?
Yeah.
You guys see it. You're just down the road, right? So.
Oh yeah.
Even here.
I mean,
my gosh, property is just...
property values, and we've seen an influx of people moving in to specific locations like, Jackson obviously is a big...
Right.
But Pinedale, Wyoming, because the billionaires are now pushing out the millionaires, and it's turning into a mini Jackson. It's really interesting to see how it's changed.
Yeah, it's interesting. And the people, I think people here are very welcoming. I don't want to say that they're not, but when you get pushed out of your own place or you get priced out, I've heard it called like priced out of paradise before, and this happens in other states or in touristy regions where you've got this draw where people want to come and they want to live in these communities because they've seen it and it looks cool and this is exciting. But the people that are native or the people that genuinely grow up in these type of communities end up getting priced out.
Yep. So exactly.
Right. No, and you've got you've got Nikki Sixx with Motley Crue now there in your state.
Yeah, he's in Jackson.
He's in
Yeah.
He's in Jackson Hole now.
Yeah, he sure is.
The Crew is in Jackson.
There we go.
Yeah, I think I can say this. I don't know. Harrison Ford, I know he lives there. At one point, he was a union customer years ago. I don't know if he still is, but yeah.
I don't know. Wyoming has always been near and dear to my heart since I was in the Air Force, and I rode bucking horses there around Laramie, and I love Wyoming. I really do. It's and y'all have got so much history there that a lot of people don't know about. I mean, they see a lot of the wide open spaces and cold winters, but I don't think they quite realize how much history and how beautiful that state y'all are in. It really is.
Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, I agree. I think when people, if I'm traveling and they ask where I'm from, the very first thing they associate Wyoming to is always Jackson, which it is a beautiful place, right? The Tetons are amazing. Yellowstone's amazing, but there's so many other spaces in the state of Wyoming that offer so much that people need to kind of break out of that one visitation to just that space and really explore it.
I agree. That's why I really kind of drew the Authentic Wyoming campaign, the Authentic Wyoming podcast, is how do we touch on this information, not just the organizations or the people, but how do we evolve into the history or the groups that are represented within the state that people don't really know a lot about, or there's a lot of assumptions, and the West is romanticized in movies, TV. So how do you get that real authentic portrayal of what is it really like to be here? What are the people like? What makes it so special? How do we make that come through and showcase it in the authentic way?
Yeah.
Right on. I love what y'all are doing. I really do. When Trista told me about what you guys were doing at Cheyenne, I'm like, that is so cool. I mean, because I think there needs to be more of that, right? Because y'all are passionate and proud of your state, and that needs to be, especially in the world we're in now. That I think that needs to be more of a statement than ever. I mean, let's get back to buying local. Let's get back to supporting our local farmers and our local ranches, right? And let's get back to loving where the heck we're from, right?
Yeah. And helping each other, right? It's a community. Like, I think that's the Western lifestyle. You talked about that.
Yes.
The connections you make. We had Donnie Prophet on our podcast yesterday, and he talked about that as well. Like, in the rodeo community, how they basically have this tight-knit community. And, if he needed something from somebody, 1,000 miles away, they would do whatever they could to help him. So I think that's part of the culture that we want to continue to highlight.
Collaboration.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Well, we appreciate the time today. We're getting to the end of the podcast.
Yeah.
We have one last question that we usually ask every guest, since it's called Authentic Wyoming. We ask, how do you stay authentic, Jimmy?
How do I stay authentic?
Yeah.
Well, every day I look in the mirror and I'm like, yeah, you have no choice other than to be authentic. No, I mean, I think it's who you are, what you believe in. And you can't, there's so many fake people out there that the last thing we need is another fake person. So I think everybody needs to be true to themselves, no matter what culture it is, no matter what genre, whatever you believe in, right? But just be you, right? Be you. And I try to stay authentic just because this is I think I was born with this, so I'm pretty sure this is who I am. So
Came
I
out
really
with
don't
this
have a choice.
little
You came
cowboy
out with a hat. I love that.
love it.
Yeah. Maybe when my baby comes out, boop, hat. Is that what happens in Wyoming? Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
so I'm
right.
pretty sure I don't have any other choice.
Yeah.
Well, it was
That's
fun to
awesome.
talk to you today. We really appreciate the conversation.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you, ladies, for letting me on here. It's an honor, and anything I can do to help y'all in the future, ring me up, email me, text me, whatever. I mean, I'm all about it. I'm all about what y'all are doing. It's so cool.
Well, we really appreciate that support, Jimmy.
All right.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Until next time.
Stay authentic.
Peace out. Peace out, Wyoming.
Thank you so much,
Hey,
Jimmy.
keep it Western.
Yeah, keep it
There we go.
Western. There
Keep
you
it-
go.
there we go.
Yeah.